Hey everybody, this is Jose Blasco. We're about to get started, 45 seconds. Let's have a quick sound check before we begin. As always, the way to do it is just to type a quick hello in the chat box. So that's nice. And now I know you hear me. So that's the way to do it. So let's do that. So we start in 31 seconds, our future session. Thank you so much. Ten seconds to go. We are about to get started here. That's it. Top of the hour. Time to get started. Welcome, everybody. Today is August 30, 2022. My name is Jose Blasco. I will be taking care of our futures session today. The name of the session says it all. We're going to be trading futures markets. I'll be more specific in a moment, but before we get started, I also wanted to highlight on the upper left side of the screen our financial disclaimer. So please read it carefully because it is important information. So I'm counting on you to read it completely. It's fairly short, so please do that. Thank you so much. Jeff, how are you, my friend? Everybody, it's good to hear you. It's good to have you in the session, everybody. Let's begin. So the agenda for today, the structure, we'll look at the market, understand a bit better what's happening, jump into trade execution. Really, we'll jump straight into trade execution. And from there, if we find a trade that is tradable, we'll take it. And from there, we'll talk about the management of the trade intraday. Again, futures trading is commonly used for fast trading, fast action. And that's my plan today, of course, depending on what the market has to offer. If the trades don't meet our rules, then we'll pass and we'll spend a little bit of time chit-chatting. If the trades meet our rules, we will not chit-chat, we'll just execute the trades. That's very simple. Market is the boss. Anyway, so with all of this said, let's jump into our questions page here. So you know how to get to the questions page. It's being highlighted on the screen as we get started. Okay, so you would just scroll down to the bottom part of the page, and here are the questions. So if you have any question, you can always type it here and find your answer, which may be waiting for you because other traders may have the same questions as you in the past. If your question is not there, so you can click on the green button and ask a question. And by the way, anyone who is able to log in the website can do that. And the only thing you need to do to log in the website is to go for the free sign up on the upper left, on the upper right, and then you can basically be supported within our community. So do that. That is tradewithufos.com/Jose. Also, in the bottom part of the screen, you may see that we also have information related to bar chart. In trading futures, it's critical that we use the right expiration, the contract that expire at the right time, the ones with the greatest level of volume and open interest. And for that, it's very convenient to use bar chart. So you may see me use bar chart during the session. And that's why we have this little ticker, running ticker in the bottom part of the screen. Okay, but I just got rid of it. And now we're going to focus on the charts. Okay, so what do we have on the screen? Well, first of all, I am using NinjaTrader. 2 days from now, we are entering September. And as you know, well, we've been a partner of TradeStation for a long, long time. TradeStation is discontinuing their app store, and therefore the UFOs, the auto climate, won't be accessible using TradeStation as a platform any longer. And in that sense, we have multiple alternatives. We are running weekly sessions, actually weekly meetings, to talk about it in small groups, and that way we provide continuity solution to all our clients, all of you guys, all the traders of the community. One of the solutions, which is probably the most adequate to trade futures intraday actively, it's NinjaTrader. As you can see, it's a pretty platform. It's advanced, it's fast, it's 64-bit, and all of the above. But anyway, let's plan on the trades. Okay, so what are we going to do? First thing is I'm going to bring a market analyzer on the screen. A market analyzer is a tool very similar to a radar screen on TradeStation, since we're talking about TradeStation. I will zoom in so you can see that better. And basically what the market analyzer does is it's looking at X amount of markets on the left. So notice the symbols. I'm looking at NASDAQ, NQ, S&P 500 futures, ES, Dow Jones futures, YM, CL for crude oil, GC for gold, and 6E for Euro futures. So we are looking at all those various markets. And for every one of those markets, we are looking at the max distance of the autoclimate, we are looking at the autoclimate count, and we are looking at the autoclimate spread, looking for those indications where it says that the current price is close to the EMA. Now, in order to try to be efficient and catching a trade as soon as possible, I will point at the fact that this one here says late. Later, I will comment more on what that means. But I guess you are with me, right? So late, it's not a good thing. And then below, we got sensible and sensible near the EMA. So again, I need to talk about what's sensible, which I will do later. But basically, the gold contracts and the euro futures should be the two contracts that we should start looking at when it comes to finding trading opportunities, because the other ones are not near the EMA or are in a late or hopeful condition, which is less probability. Okay, so I'm going to start looking at gold and the euro futures, hopefully find a trade or two, hopefully execute those trades, and from there we will move into maybe a little bit more of a deeper explanation of what was all of that information I just showed you, so you understand how it works. So I'm going to move here to gold, and as I move to gold, everything is reloading. It seems that we missed a trade for just a few minutes. Oh, sorry. I was just typing on my keyboard without realizing it. So what do we have here? So again, we have a down climate, which is confirmed. The climate is 7 out of 7. We still got 8 minutes to go until that candle closes. So in other words, we still have 8 minutes to get into a trade to the short side, since the climate is red and confirmed. So we are supposed to trade to the short side. Max distance, which is here, it's allowing us to take the trade because the maximum extension this market produced was 111, where 2 standard deviations is 126. So we haven't stretched all the way, and we still have 8 minutes to go. So all of this is giving us permission to take a trade. Now, for us to take a trade, we need to find an entry around the EMA, which is that golden line, which is currently trading at 1743.8, which I got the golden line up here in the form of a horizontal line. Okay, this horizontal line is the EMA. Okay, which for whatever reason my internet must be slow. Okay, now you can see as well the golden line on my other charts here on the right as well. So this golden line 1743.8, 1743.8, 1743.8 corresponds with the EMA in the 15-minute time frame, even though on the top part of my screen we see other time frames. Okay, now minute time frames are minute time frames, so 2 minutes is 2 minutes, so not an issue. But volume time frames are not the same for all markets. And notice here I got 2 tabs, CL Gold, CL Gold. Those are the time frames I should be using, which are compatible with the 2-minute time frame, which is the 610 volume bar and the 377 T bar. So what am I looking for? So what I'm looking for, this one is still loading here. Notice the word loading right here. Okay, so I need to wait a bit here. That's my internet is for whatever reason a bit slow today. Okay, now it loaded. So notice the importance of those EMAs, right? So you can see how it reacted to this line very powerfully. Okay, and we can see it here also very clearly. So we are looking for an entry around that line. Okay, and therefore we are looking for a UFO which is enveloping that line. And on the 2-minute time frame, we don't have a UFO. On the 610 volume time frame, we don't have a UFO. But then on the 377 tick time frame, we do have a UFO which is enveloping this line located at 1743.8, where that UFO goes all the way to 43.9. Okay, so it's very, 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 very tight. Okay, but it does meet our rules. Okay, well, then if that's the case, then how are we going to take the trade? Well, the idea will be to enter short at this price point, which is 42.6, with a stop above 43.9, which is going to be 44.0, right up here. That's going to be the stop. And then the target is going to be below. Okay, and how far below is going to be? So it's going to be around 1740. Okay, so we are trying to catch a move all the way from here to here. That's what we're trying to catch. And how did I come up with 1740? Well, I'm coming up with 1740 because notice here, this is the 15-minute time frame. Okay, notice that these 2 time frames, the 2 on the left, are gray color, so they are 15-minute time frame each. And notice that we have a green UFO there with the inner circle located at 1740. And I'm going to go for that as a target. Okay, so with all of this in mind, and by the way, we are inside the UFO already, so it's time to take this trade. my friends. So I'm going to set a stop safety target. Let me edit this. Hopefully I could be fast enough. I'm going to go with 2 contracts, one for target 1, one for target 2. Stop is going to be 1744. 1744. And final target, I just said, is going to be 1740. Okay. And if I enter at 43.9, sorry, at 40.6, from 40.6 to 44, I got 1.4. So 1.4 below would be 40.8. Okay. Okay, if I did the math right, which I'm doing quite quickly. Now, since I am inside this UFO, okay, and the EMA, as you can see, is moving away from the UFO. So I am not ready to take this trade. Okay, I am not ready to take this trade. I need to, oh, and the UFO is gone. So well done. We didn't take the trade. Great. So notice how as price was going up, and we talked about this many times, moving averages are called moving for a reason. They move. So when price came inside the UFO, notice how the line was outside the UFO. So that would have invalidated the trade. Okay. Now, anytime we only got 4 minutes left until that 15-minute comment, right? So, but during those 4 minutes, a new UFO may form and we may still have a go. Okay. But so far, it hasn't happened yet. So it's looking like maybe there is a climate change coming here. So while I'm waiting for this to confirm itself, we got 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go, which is probably going to look like we are not going to take a trade on gold. I'm going to go and check the euro, which was my other trade, with a near EMA condition, and see if we have anything that is giving us an opportunity to enter. Actually, we don't. Notice how the climate went from confirm to not confirm. And when looking at the appropriate timeframes on the top part of my screen, so I'm loading, that is the word loading here. So we need to wait a little bit. Okay, we need to wait a little bit until market data loads. Actually, I did a full refresh of my computer, so the whole set of data needs to be downloaded. That was a bit silly of me. It could be a bit faster without that. But anyway, it's going to show up very soon. And again, we have a climate condition here, which seems to be invalidated or almost invalidated. If it revalidates, which could be, because price is inside of a UFO, so this market may fall heavily. And if it does, that thin dot may become thick again. And if that's the case, we got, up to 8 candles to go. There were only 3 reds, so we can have like another 5 candles to go for the climate to be fully propagated. Okay, but that's not happening so far. So far, we can see on the 2-minute time frame, the EMA is located here, which is enveloped by a green UFO. We don't want it enveloped by a green UFO. We want it enveloped by a red UFO because the climate is red. So from that point of view, no trade. And then I'm still waiting here on the right for the data to be fully loaded. And not sure why it's taking so long. I guess I should really not have cleaned up so much. That's sometimes the disadvantage of being a little bit of a perfectionist. You sometimes overdo a little bit certain things that are not really needed. Okay, now, so on the 377 volume time frame, we can see how the EMA is not enveloped by a UFO. And on 233 tick time frame, we also see the EMA not being enveloped by any red UFO. So caution, okay? We may not have a trade here. Patience is required. We need to wait 1 minute and 20 seconds, and things will define themselves. So sorry for rushing a little bit at the beginning of the session, but I was trying to catch something if something was to be catched. The rules are not met, so we are not going to force it, of course not. But hopefully we'll catch something, and also hopefully we'll have time to discuss things a bit better, okay? So back here, notice how we had a change of condition here, which is now pointing at late for the climate. Okay, so we're going to have to wait for a moment. And again, 42 seconds to go. The climates will recalculate. All these climates are running, as you can see here, on a 15-minute time frame. So all of this it will be recalculated in just 29 seconds. Okay, so let's wait 29 seconds, and we're going to have, ideally, hopefully, new approved trading conditions. And if not, no problem. I'll take that time to explain more about the methodology as a little bit of a recap. Okay, I'll take a sip of water. 10 seconds. Joanne, nice to see you. Okay, so that's it. We got a change of climate there in multiple markets. So what do we have? So the euro is now the euro futures is now in an up climate, 1 out of 3. So this is an early climate. Gold also changed climate, and there are the two markets which are close to the EMS. So again, back to the same markets. The only difference is that now we are trading them to the long side instead of to the short side. Okay, we'll start with the euro. Okay, we'll start with the euro. So the euro is right here. We have again. Confirmed climate, 1 out of 5, starting here on the max distance, obviously, EMA 37.6, which is this horizontal line, lining up perfectly with a UFO, almost a UFO, but that UFO ends at 32, which 32 is in the middle of this, actually is below, so it's fine. And 32 is the same number as this. Okay, so perfect. So we can use the 2-minute UFO as a valid entry, and we are almost there. And then for my target, I need to rush this, my friends. For my target, I'm going to go for the white space on the top of that UFO. That's going to be my target, which is more or less here, which is 46. So I'm shooting for a target of around here. Okay, that's going to be my target around here, 46. Okay, so let's set my stop, entry, and final. So we'll start with the stop. Stop is going to be 1.00315. Okay, 315, 1.00315. This is right below the UFO. Final target 1.0046. That's what we said. And then the safety target, which needs to be 1-to-1, so from 32 to 37.5, actually we got 31.5, 6 ticks, okay, or pips, depending on how you want to call it. So 6 on top of 37.5, that's going to be 43, 1.0043. Okay, that is if I didn't do a mistake with the math, which I'm doing quite quickly so I don't miss the trade. Okay, so with that rule in place, I'm going for 2 contracts. We're going to look at 37.5 as the entry point right here, and we're going to place a buy order right here. Okay, so our order is waiting to get filled right here. This order is protected with a custom strategy. It says custom because I just customized the price points, isn't it? It's an entry with 2 targets: safety target, final target, and a stop. Okay, and this trade is now waiting to get filled as long as this market comes down. It's currently trading at 41.5. We need it to come down to 37.5, and we're gonna get filled. Again, EMS and everything else looking perfectly fine. So this trade is indeed valid. The order is in. If you have any question, I guess it would be great if you could type it now, because certainly I want to move to gold and see if there is something tradable there too, and place the order as well. But not to confuse anyone, I would like to confirm as well that it's all good on your end on the rationale behind this trade and why I placed my order there at 1.00375 and the target located at 46 up here, and so on. Okay, so we are 3 ticks away from being filled, 2 ticks away from being filled. So hopefully we'll get filled. Okay, 2 ticks away from being filled. Oh, it's moving away a bit. Climate kicking in a little bit. Come on, climate, don't kick in yet. Just bring it down. 3 more ticks, get us a fill, and then you can go. Just a little demanding here with the climate, like if the climate was listening to me. Do you guys talk when you trade? I often have some conversations there with my computer. 3 ticks away, 2 ticks away. Come on, just a bit more. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna stay with this screen because we may get a feel, and it'd be great to learn from this trading opportunity, no matter if we're gonna profit or not. We 1 tick away, we just got filled. Okay, so we're in the trade. So entry, the stop is below the UFO, as you can see. Target 143, target 246. Okay, so it's all set up for the trade, and now it's all about the market doing what it has to do. Okay, so it's bouncing a little bit in our favor there, giving us $12.5 of profit. Now back to break even 0.0, 12.5. Okay, so again, we're just gonna be waiting for this market to define itself. Okay, now another thing which is important is to also think of your time stops. Okay, so if everything is gonna work according to plan, buy on field orders are entering the market as we speak, and therefore this energy is about to start pushing to the upside because we got the UFO in our favor, we got the climate in our favor. Again, statistics, probabilities, the rationale of the trade, everything is in our favor. So this should happen. And if it does not happen, then it means that something is wrong. And this could be the fact that the climate may start changing. This could be the fact that maybe on-field orders are being canceled. In other words, this trade needs to prove itself quickly. And if it doesn't prove itself quickly, we're going to get out. Okay, that's the plan. And one rule, the rule I use is to look at the time-based time frame, which is the 2-minute time frame that we use to enter, and count 3 candles, which is basically 6 minutes. Okay, even though probably a better way to do it is to look at the time remaining here. When I entered, it was 10. We've been in the trade for a minute now, so we got 5 minutes left. Okay, in other words, when it gets to 4 minutes, if I didn't reach my target 1, I'm just gonna close it. It's gonna be a small profit or a small loss, but I'm just gonna close it because that means that I gave the trade 3 candles of the edge time frame, and during those 3 candles, no price movement, which is significant, has occurred. As you can see, all those bounces going up and down, it's consuming on-field orders. So as time passes, we are losing probabilities. So that's why I'm not going to give infinite amount of time for the trade to prove itself. This is short-term intraday trading. And of course, there may be times where you cancel a trade and now, if you had let it go, it would have worked. But again, time is indeed working against us from a probability standpoint, because the more price stays there and doesn't move, the more orders are filled, and therefore the less orders are left. Okay, so again, I'm looking at the clock. When we get to 0.4, if I didn't get to my safety target, I'm just gonna close the trade. So far, it's moved a little bit against us. We are underwater by negative $75. Not a big deal, I would say. Part of trading. So far, all is looking good, actually. It's part of the plan that we see price fluctuations going in and out. The UFO on the 2-minute time frame is gone. So that is not too good. Okay, that is a little bit of a problem. So again, if you are very aggressive, you could now go ahead and close the trade and take $37 of loss instead of potentially more. That's not my style. In my style, I'm going to go for 3 candles on the edge time frame, which is 6 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to be waiting patiently for the clock to show 4 minutes here before I cancel the trade. Another technique you could use to understand better if this trade is going to work or not is to look at the reactive time frame here, which is 89 volume shares in the Euro futures, or 55 tick shares in the Euro futures. And if red UFO shows up, then you may want to cancel it. Okay, which is what's happening right now. So actually, it's not looking too good for the trade in this particular case. But again, that's not my style. Okay, I'm giving you alternatives. My style is to wait until those 3 candles on the 2-minute time frame. Okay, so just waiting there, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, so pretty powerful push to the upside right now. We are back to break even. We are also approaching the opening time of the market in 7 minutes time. To be honest, I love to trade at this time, because if I get into a trade and then it pushes and I get the market open, adds volatility, so it may get me to my final target immediately. So I love that. But again, so we are up $50, $62.5, so that's great. But again, we got 1.5 minutes to go. If we don't get to the final target, I'm gonna be out, even though it's looking good. The rules are the rules. Okay, that's what I plan to do, and this is exactly what I'm gonna do. This is exactly what I'm gonna do. So just waiting, little more. We got. I didn't say 1.5 minutes. I should have said 2.5 minutes. We have 2 minutes to go now. So 6 minutes again. I'm looking for the clock to be 4. So we're up $75 now in the trade, up 87.5. That doesn't mean anything, especially at this time when the market is about to open. Now, good news, a new UFO showed up. Okay, so what I'm going to do, my stop, which is currently at 83.5, I'm going to move it right under, which is 83. I just moved my stop under the new UFO that formed, right? So now if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose less. Okay. And I'm not doing that out of hope. I'm doing that out of new on-field orders that show up in the market. So if price comes back to this UFO, that UFO should push it higher, right? So why would I want my stop to be lower? That would be a form of hoping, and I'm not going to do that. Okay, so we're up 125, 112.5, waiting a little bit more. We are 4 ticks away, actually, from target 1. That would be great. Target 1 basically removes the risk of the trade, is the safety target. 1 minute to go. So 500. So 1 minute to go until we close the trade manually. If we didn't reach safety target, if we reach safety targets, then we won't close it manually. Another UFO showed up here on the tick time frame too. All of this is very good. Also, UFO showing up on the reactive time frame. All of this is great. This is working very well in the favor of the trade. But also remember, we're 5 minutes away from the opening of the market. So many times, plenty of orders are added to the market and then canceled at the speed of the light right before the open. Okay, so we cannot really trust it too much. We're now in the hands of the market. 27 seconds to go for me to close the trade manually. We may have a spike on the way up if we get to the safety target, and I will leave it open. If not, you will see discipline action from my end. No matter the PNL of the trade, I'm just going to click on the close button here. Okay, so 13 seconds to go, up $75. Definitely not the trade of the century, but certainly applying the rules with discipline, which is what matters. 2, 1, 0. We are out of the trade. My friends, we just collected $75. The trade didn't progress further, but that's it. Okay. Now, could we replan on the trade? Yes, indeed. There is a UFO there lining up with the EMA. We can certainly go ahead and plan the trade and take it again. Why not? I collected $75. Now I can enter again. If I get stopped out, I'm going to lose less because I will lose whatever amount minus the $75 I collected already. So you could certainly do that. Okay, you could certainly do that. So let's do it. So the target would still be 46. Okay, so 46 is still the target. The stop now would be below 33.5, which is also 33.5 on the right. So it's going to be, the stop is now going to be 33. So re-entering with a new UFO from 39.5 to 33, we got 6 points. Let me do the math correctly. 6.5 on top of 35 actually is not worth it because my safety target would be basically 45.5, which is basically 46. Okay, so I'm not going to do it because my safety target would be 45.5, which is basically 46, right? So then it's basically just a 1-to-1. Why would you do that? So I'm not doing it. Okay, again, my rules. It's not a crazy thing to do it, but based on my rules, I'm going to pass. So what I'm going to do next is probably check on gold. Any question, by the way, guys? If anyone has a question, or if you don't have any question, but it was clear and you understood what I did, please go ahead and let me know. So the next one is gold. Gold is still showing near the EMA in an, it shows late climate. So that means that probably this climate has suffered some sort of a change. Let's take a look. And yes, so why? Because, so here's what's happening. The market condition has changed, and this market condition is an unconfirmed climate with a thin dot instead of the thick blue dots like here. It's a thin dot. So the unconfirmed market condition basically invalidates the trade with gold. Okay, so we're going to pass. And let's take a look at what is available. Okay, so hopeful, sensible with the YM, but we are very far, from the EMA. So 134 is very far from the EMA, so it may take a while for price to come. So I guess the more sensible thing to do now is just to wait 2 minutes, guys. 1 minute and 12 seconds, because in 1 minute and 10 seconds, our 15-minute time frame will update and all the climates will be recalculated and we may find new opportunities. Okay, so let's wait for that. Yes, for that particular trading style, Jeff, I'm doing exactly the same thing that we teach on our futures course, which is using the 15-minute time frame as a common time frame and use the 2-minute time frame as an edge time frame. Could you have other time frame combinations? Definitely. Okay, as discussed in the futures course or in many of the sharpening sessions that we have done, yes, you can do 60 minutes and 8 minutes. I mean, there are many other combinations that could be more active or less active depending on your preference. Okay, but right now I'm just using 15 minutes combined with 2. And then on the right side of the screen, I'm using volume and tick charts, which are adapted for either the S&P or the NASDAQ or crude oil or gold or the YM or the Euro futures. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so anyway, 5 seconds to go. update on the climates. Let's bring my market analyzer here. Market analyzer is like the red screen on TradeStation, isn't it? So what do we have? Early climate on gold, early climate on the euro. So let's go back to look at gold. Okay, early climate in this case, what a teaser. We are back to be in a down climate. Okay, so that was a little bit of a tease. We are back in a down climate, close to the EMA. Do we have red UFO? So let's take a look. On the 2-minute time frame, we have our EMA right there, no red UFO. Let's look at the right time frames. Okay, so this one is loading, so I'm gonna wait for the volume time frame to load. The tick time frame 377 is already loaded, and there is no red UFO. I'm looking for a red UFO enveloping the EMA right here. Okay, is not. Okay, there is none. So we're gonna have to wait. And the last one that could be an opportunity is the volume time frame, which is loading. Oh, my internet connection seems to be slow today. So let's wait. Should show in a moment. Jeff, did I answer your question? Okay, so the time frame is loaded now, no red UFO. Okay, so we're gonna come back in just a second because a UFO may show up anytime, especially with the volume and the tick time frames. They are not based on time, so anytime you may have a UFO that shows up. So I'm gonna come back in a moment. But since the euro seemed to be giving an opportunity, I wanna go back to the euro and see if something else is available. So, well, great. The UFO did its job and actually got to 46. That would have been our final target. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. UFO. That's 46, 47 actually. So we are now entering the white space inside that UFO. Okay, so that the prior trade will have worked very well. This trade, it's still valid. If we want to take it, it's still valid. The EMA is right there lining up with the EMA. But again, the problem is that the target will be 46. So if we are waiting for a trade, we will wait for price to come here and then bounce and get out at 46, which is the 1-to-1 trade I mentioned before. So the euro basically has not changed the picture. So let's go back to gold. And if gold is not giving us anything, look at that. A new UFO has just formed on the 2-minute time frame. Unfortunately, the only problem we have here is that the EMA is outside the UFO. That UFO is not enveloping the EMA. Okay, so how do you deal with that? With patience. What do I mean by that? Well, in 12 minutes from now, the 15-minute time frame will give us a new candle. And what's going to happen then? Well, probably the EMA will come down a bit. And when the EMA comes down a bit, it may be inside the UFO, and now you can take the trade. But right now, it's outside the UFO, so you have a direct force and an indirect force that are not lining up. Okay, so we are not gonna execute the trade. Again, when I say we are not, everybody's obviously free to take the trade however they choose. There are a million ways on how to trade. I'm just sharing what I do, how I trade, my rules. Okay, so just know that. Okay, which hopefully they help you to understand trading. They help you to put together your own trading plan and so on. Okay. And by the way, during the session, we are all traders here, some more experienced than others. If you have comments, if you have questions, you have suggestions, if you have different opinions, please phrase it on the chat box, okay? There is no right or wrong. The boss is the market. It's not me. It's not you. It's not anyone. The boss is the market, isn't it? So, feel free to share your comments while I'm the one doing the greatest amount of talking here for obvious reasons, because I'm leading the session, isn't it? But, happy to listen to you guys. So what else is happening? So let's take a look at here. So everything seems to be moving. It seems that the Nasdaq is approaching the EMA. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq, even though the Nasdaq is in a hopeful condition. Okay, the Nasdaq is in a hopeful condition. And hopeful means that the current condition for the climate is 11 out of 8. So it's been dropping for too long statistically, and is set for a change of climate, okay, statistically speaking. So not a good idea to get short when the market is already in a hopeful stage, 11 out of 8, okay, not a good idea. Gold is still giving us the early near EMA, okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Gold, but again, we need more UFOs to form in the right location, okay, yeah. So notice that 2-minute UFO didn't work. And again, it doesn't mean anything. Not all UFOs work. We all know that. Orders often get canceled, or maybe a replacement of buy orders is taking place, and that's why the sell orders failed. But the fact that the EMA was not lining up with the UFO was reducing the odds. You saw what happened on the euro. And again, it doesn't mean that happens all the time. But having more odds in your favor is obviously better than having less odds in your favor. I guess it's common sense. But it's nice to see it happening. So hopefully it reinforces the learning experience. Okay. So again, using patience, which is one of the most powerful weapons for traders. Sitting on your hands is indeed trading. Most of your time is spent sitting on our hands. Some people don't understand that's trading. That probably means that they are new traders, and that's why they don't understand. The ones of us who have been trading for a while, we know it's probably the most important time, the time where you are not taking the bad trades. That time, it's extremely important, more than the time taking the trades, okay? So anyway, gold is not providing us the opportunity. And good question, Jeff. So again, the reason why I didn't even click on gold, on crude oil, is because we are 1.5 ATRs away from the EMA. So for price to come back, and nice setup, by the way, good catch, beautiful EMA that is being enveloped by the UFO right there. But for us to take the trade, crude oil will need to rally from the current value of 93.6 all the way to 94.14. Okay, so it needs to rally intensively before we plan a trade. And guess what? When that happens, the EMA may be lower because it's supposed to take a long time. So that's why I am simply ignoring the markets that don't show near EMA. It doesn't mean that you cannot go and start planning the trade, but it probably means as well that you are about to waste a little bit of your time. Okay, so out of efficiency, I only click on the markets that show near EMA because they are closer to the UFO I'm going to use as an entry. Okay, does this make sense, Jeff? Now, from another angle, I will say that, yeah, so 2 out of 5 is certainly acceptable. Okay, it's indeed valid. It's early. 2 out of 5 is early, so good one. And then 1.28 is less than 168, so certainly that market is not overextended, and that climate has not lasted for more than what statistics suggest a normal thing to be. So taking a trade to the short side makes sense. That UFO makes sense. It just happens to be very far, and probably it's going to happen in the next climate. So when we see near EMA, we'll go plan. Okay. So let's take another look at gold to see if any UFO has formed. So no UFOs have formed yet. Let's take a look at the euro. So the market went much higher. That's much better now. Now we are talking. Why? Because this UFO has been taken away all the way. There is nothing above. Okay. So now if I'm going to take a trade, my target is going to be this guy, which is 56. So price is approaching this. I want to go long here and ride a move potentially all the way to 56, which is a very, very nice room for profit. Okay. So planning on a trade on the euro, let's load the right time frame on the euro as well, so we can see. Again, apologize for whatever reason. My charts are loading very slow today, so let's be patient here so we have full visibility. But in the meantime, I will start planning. So the trade that we're going to use will have a stop located at below 33.5, which is going to be 33. Okay, final target is going to be 56.5. Okay, which is that red UFO there, and I'm using that red UFO because on the 15-minute time frame there is no UFO. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use the one we see on the 2-minute time frame. And then for safety, earlier we calculated it was 45.5, isn't it? So this is the entry I want to set using 39.5. I'm just going to place the order. That's it. The order is in, lining up with the UFO. Again, I need this chart to load. It got distorted because the chart has not loaded yet. So let's wait patiently. Again, very strange that it has not loaded yet, but Should be there in a moment. And it's important for me to check volume time frame and tick time frame to make sure that there are no other UFOs producing a value lower than 33.5. Okay, I would hate it if there was, let's say, a UFO here on the volume time frame that ends, okay, that ends at 1.00315, for example, where my stop is located at right below at 33.0, right, and 33.0, maybe somewhere here. So what could happen is that the euro comes into the UFO, the one I see on the 2-minute time frame, okay, and then it keeps going down to the UFO. It's on the volume time frame that we don't see yet, and then it stops me out from the UFO on the 2-minute time frame. But then there were still buy on field orders here, and then after stopping me out, it turns and goes to my target, but I'm out, right? I would not want this to be, right? So that's why I want to make sure that we are good, and we are good. Notice that the UFO we find on the tick time frame ends at 33.5, which happens to be the same as the 2-minute time frame at 33.5. So great confirmation, great setup. We may not find the trade because there is another UFO there. Now, this one is not lining up with the EMA. Okay, the EMA is the golden line here. Is not lining up with that one. So we are not going to take a trade here, but it's still a UFO, which may bring the price up, and then we miss the trade. Well, actually, the UFO just went away, so great. This opens the door. This increases probability for the euro to fall and come to our entry point. I would certainly welcome that. Please, Mr. Euro, do that. We got 20 minutes to go until the session is over. Hopefully, we can take another trade with the euro futures and write it a bit further and talk about trade management a bit further as well. That would be fun. In the meantime, 2 minutes and 57 seconds for the climate change. So the climate update, I should say, and not necessarily change. So when the climate updates, instead of 2 out of 5, it's going to be 3 out of 5, which is still good. And 0.53 out of 178 is certainly still good. So we should be totally good to stay in the trade, not a problem, be patient, and wait for the price to come, okay? Now, coming back to you, Jeff, with your comment about crude oil. So if I bring in the climates here, notice that we are 0.50 away from the euro, and notice how it's taking waiting time for price to come to our entry point. So that's why I was not looking at the crude oil, because it's 1.60. It's like, it's like 5 times, 4 times, whatever, the amount of distance that we currently have on the euro. And look at how much waiting time we have already. So imagine the amount of waiting time you will normally need on crude oil, even though sometimes something happens, maybe a news announcement, and now that market picks up speed and volatility, and then you have to run. But in most of the cases, okay, it's more efficient to rely on that near EMA indication on the market analyzer, because it saves you time when planning the trade, okay? So again, another powerful waiting time, another time for us to prove we are real traders, sitting on our hands, okay? Very, very important time to not to fall into temptations, to not to be like, oh my God, the looking is moving, I'm gonna miss it, let's go for it. Not to change the rules of your plan, which by the way implies that you have a plan, okay? So just waiting, okay? So again, comments, questions, please, they're welcome. Go ahead. If all is good, please let me know all is good. I'll take a sip of water. And in 1 minute, we're going to have a confirmation for the climate. So we may have something to comment, or maybe another opportunity to examine. So 50 plus seconds to go. The euro seems to be coming down, 42.5. Our entry is a few ticks down. So please, Mr. Euro, come visit us. We're waiting for you. 32 seconds to go for an update on the climate. So I'm bringing the climates here in case we have some update anywhere here with a near or a hopeful. Oh, we just got filled on the euro. Here we go. Thank you so much. So we got filled basically at 0.0. So I'm giving myself 6 minutes, right? So 6 minutes will mean when the clock shows 11 minutes of the next climate, okay, sorry, 9 minutes of the next climate, that is when I will basically exit this trade, okay? So, change of climate. Do we have anything new? No, still the euro. Gold is 0.6. So gold is, kind of close. So everything else is 1.3, 1.8, 2 point something. So yeah, so it looks like gold may be the one to check as well. So let me take a look at gold, and I'll come back to the euro because we are just entering this trade on the euro. So I would expect it to last for a little bit. Let's take a look at gold, and we will come back. In the meantime, we know we are in the trade with the euro. Let's come back in a moment. So gold, still in a down climate, 1743.6 is the EMA. Oh, here we go. Red UFO there with an EMA inside. Okay, now we are currently trading at 42.8, so we are inside the EMA. Okay, so we are currently inside the EMA. Let me rephrase that. We are currently inside the UFO. So if I take this trade, and the way since I am inside the UFO, the way I'm going to take it is I'm going to be reactive, looking at the reactive time frames. Okay, so I need to move to the right time frame for crude oil and gold. Here we go. So if I take this trade, currently price is here. So I'm going to set my target at 1740, as I said before. Okay, 1740, as I said before, is going to be the location for the target. Yes. Yes, yes. Oh, the UFO is gone, guys. Okay, so no trade. Okay, the algo understands on-field orders have been canceled, so no trade. Okay, so let's go back to the euro futures and see how the trade is evolving. We are currently up $50 per contract. Any new UFO that has formed? Maybe. No. We are moving towards our safety target. We are 5 ticks away from the safety target. It would be great to get to the safety target, so we cannot lose money on this trade anymore. But also it would be great to see new UFO forming, especially on the volume or the tick chart, so we can start trailing stop. Okay, so let's take a look. We got 30 minutes to go until the session is over. I guess this is going to be our second trade of the day and probably the last one for today. We got 12 minutes to go until the climate is over. Remember, when the clock hits 09, if I didn't hit my safety target, I'm going to close the trade manually. Okay, so we are moving. We are 3 ticks away from the safety target. Okay, 3 ticks away from the safety target. Come on, give us a push. 2 more ticks. Come on, 2 more ticks. Give us a push. Be nice to us so we can be out of risk. And that's certainly a pleasant situation, isn't it? It's challenging the trading psychology of the trader here a little bit by getting close to the target, moving back down. My friends, we don't touch a thing, okay? We are disciplined traders. We have the rules in place, and if you want to touch a thing, just have a set of rules that allow you to touch a thing based on your rules. But we're not going to do it based on emotions, okay? We got on-field orders in our favor, the climate in our favor. We're just going to go with the flow and follow the rules of these trades, of this trade. So back to 3 ticks away, 2 ticks away from the target. Come on, little extra push now. We can make it. You can do it, you can do it. Okay, another tease. Going back down a little bit. In the meantime, the clock is ticking. We are reaching 11 on the clock. Remember, when we get to 09, we are going to be out of this trade, okay? No UFO being formed on the volume time frame so far. No UFO being formed on the tick time frame so far either. So we are just waiting 2 ticks away. Real teaser. Come on. A bit of decision, Mr. Euro. Okay, not yet. Okay, look at the T's, major T's. Okay, we are almost back to break even with this move down. Okay, but now I love this because, I mean, while it's not pleasant to see, obviously I'm human too, even though I'm used to it. I love this because if price goes back up now, probably the only reason too is because a new pile of on-field orders are added. And therefore, that may show on the screen with a new flying saucer, and that will allow us to move stop higher. So I'm happy about that. If not, in the meantime, in 1 minute time, I'm ready to close the trade. We are breaking even now, okay? So I'm ready to close the trade in less than a minute time. Even if it's a small loss, even if it's a small winner, I will not care. I will just close the trade when the clock hits 9.00, because that allows me to be in the trade for 6 minutes, which is my rule. Yes, and Joanne, you're right. You are right. We may get into that situation where everybody's waiting for the news now and everything slows down, okay? Which is bad, because slowing down means orders being filled at the same price point, and therefore less orders left, okay? And less orders left equal less probability. So again, 15 seconds to go. A red UFO just formed there, okay? Red UFO form. This is not good. In any case, good or not good, we are 3 seconds away from getting out of this trade. 1, 0, done. We just collected negative 12.5 together with a positive 75. We are up for the trading session by $70.50 so far, okay? We still got 10 minutes to go in the session, so hopefully we'll find another trade, okay? Anyway, so let's bring in the climates. Any question, my friends? I am about to bring the climates on the screen as well. Here we go. So what else do we have? The one showing near is still the euro. Okay. Now, notice the deep penetration inside the UFO now. So that's obviously not a good sign. Notice on the euro how red UFOs are showing up. So again, I'm not saying this to brag about anything. I'm just a trader. The market is the boss. But there are reasons for the rules we have the way we have them. Okay. Notice now the UFO is gone. A red UFO showed up here. Not on the volume time frame, and now the climate is being challenged. Okay. So again, it was very nice to get out for only $12.5 of loss on this particular trade, which together with the prior trade gave us a profitable day. Okay, so that's great. A good lesson there. Okay, so that's why discipline is extremely important, because if you're not disciplined, probably you are hoping, and if you're hoping, the only way to make money is to be lucky, which is obviously not going to be consistent. Now, gold is back to be close to the EMA. So let's go take a look at gold. So gold, let me go back to the right time frames for gold here. Yeah, we are in a beautiful climate condition, but no red UFO, no red UFO, no red UFO on any of the edge timeframes, so no trade. Okay, but look at the beauty of that EMA, how that line has been very nicely respected. Again, the reason why we combine indirect forces in the form of an EMA with direct forces in the form of on-field orders, and we put the two things together for our entries into these type of trades. So, yeah, so no trade here. It seems that we're going to have 6 minutes of waiting time, which may be a little bit of a conversation between us, because I would say probably we won't have time to take another trade in this very short amount of time. But again, comments, questions. I see, Jeff, your question coming back to you right now. Comments, questions about what we've done so far. I'm pretty happy about the day from a monetary point of view. I mean, we've made $62.5, so it's not like it's amazing. But you increase the size and you do that every day, and actually it could be good. In any case, I'm very happy about the day from an educational point of view, from a good example, good practice type point of view. I'm very happy about what we have seen so far. Okay, so now, Jeff, what is the difference between EMA and SMA? Well, EMA stands for exponential moving average. SMA stands for simple moving average. And therefore, the only difference is the way on how the moving average is calculated. The EMAs are a bit faster. They are weighted. They give more importance to recent candles and less importance to older candles, where the simple moving average gives the same value, same weight, I should say, not the same value, same weight to each candles that are part of the calculation. So that makes the SMAs to move a bit more slowly. And Therefore, the typical application, which again doesn't mean it's like that all the time, but the typical application is that EMS are more often utilized for intraday trading applications with lower time frames, where SMS are typically utilized in the daily, weekly, monthly time frames. Market analysts, and probably more than traders, use those SMAs to do market analysis and conclude if we're in an uptrend, downtrend, or things of that sort. Okay. Yes, Joanne, it's very good to see you in the present trading future, and it will be very good to see you in the future. Together in the present. Okay, so definitely. I mean, it's just I cannot be anywhere, and Boyan happens to be on vacation time in Europe, so I'm gladly taking his spot doing the futures trading, especially now with Ninja Trader as well. Having lots of fun. Very very fun day for me today. I miss this very much, but yeah, I cannot be anywhere, so I'm focusing a bit more on the options, isn't it? With the coaching sessions. But yeah, appreciate your comment, Joanne. It's such a joy, a pleasure for me to be in the session today. So we got 4 minutes to go. The euro is still in the condition that we saw before, okay, near the EMA. But yeah, it's looking like, look at that. Another UFO showed up here. Actually, this is not the right time frame to look. No, same UFO. What about the volume time frame? And another UFO also showed up on the volume time frame. So yeah, so it seems that the euro is set for a change of climate. So that climate was supposed to last 5 candles statistically. It seems that it's only going to last 3 candles. So what? We collected some profitability. We took the money, we ran. We did it safely. Good job. Okay, that's trading, my friends. Okay, that's trading. Probabilities are just a guide. We cannot predict the future with certainty. We can assess the future from a statistical point of view. That we do. And we try to be smart on how we use the rules and the tools in order to keep us safe and catch profits more often than not when the market is kind to us, because our tools gives us, and the tools and the rules gives us an edge. So when the market is kind, and make the edge to become a reality, so we collect those monies, okay, which is what we do regularly. So again, gold and the euro basically it's been our bread and butter today. Gold not showing red UFOs near the EMA so far, and therefore we got 2 minutes to go before the session is over. So I'm kind of in the mode of saying goodbye already, because basically the session is going to be over in 2 minutes. Okay, my friends, before we hang up, I'd like to say a couple of things. First of all, how do you feel about Ninja Trader? How do you like it? Go ahead, go for it. If it's negative, I'll take it. Again, we are in our passion, our commitment to you guys is to create tools that are as impactful as possible. So if you have anything to say, which is on the negative side, such as I don't like this, I don't like that, why didn't you do this? Please go ahead and do it. Okay, this is the time. If you have anything positive to say, or for sure we'll take it and it'll put a smile on my face, but it doesn't need to be positive. Okay, just share with us whatever you have to say. And if you're watching this recorded, same. Okay, so this is one thing I would like to ask you to do before the session is over. And the other thing I wanted to show you, which you're probably aware of that, is this. Okay, tomorrow is the day where this book becomes official. You can purchase it already. To be honest, it's in pre-order status. It will be shipping tomorrow. If you buy it today, it will start shipping tomorrow, not today. But it's purchasable already if you choose to. So you can Google it on Amazon. You can Google it on any bookstore. Bookdepository.com, Waterstones, ebook.com, you name it. In any bookstore worldwide, including starting tomorrow in public libraries or public book in-person bookstores as well. Okay, so and that's worldwide. Okay, so hopefully it'll make an impact. The book is very affordable, and the reason why I'm mentioning the price of the book is because I want to make sure all of you understand. Not only the book is affordable, it's $18.88. The book also grants you access to the FOREX course, and with the FOREX course, you get 3 months access to the UFOs. all of this is available with $18.88. Okay, so share the word. Tell your friends, the ones in your family that want to learn how to trade. Maybe they didn't have the time to join a course, but they have the time to read a book at their own pace. Whatever, maybe it's a budget issue. I guess $18 won't be a budget issue anymore. So we want to help. The book is one of the tools for us to help the world to trade better with intelligent tools and good knowledge and good education. So spread the word, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Reading your comments, there is nothing else there. So I guess we will call it the day. Yep, we'll call it a day. No more comments. Thank you, everybody, my friends. It's a pleasure, as always, to be part of these sessions, especially to you, Joanne, Jeff. We've been JJJ through today, isn't it? Jeff, Joanne, Jose. Powerful day, my friends. Take care, everybody. See you in the next one.